Hey, Mama, I am so glad we are reconnecting. Finally. Girl, my list has been piled a mile high. I've crossed everything off of it at this point. And the one thing I'm ready to focus on is minding my own motherhood. That's what season 3 is going to be all about. MYOM. And I want you to join me and make the commitment to minding your own motherhood too. Let's get into it. I want to hear just a little bit from why you got into this work, because I know there's a starting point and a story before you becoming certified to become a doula. So how did you land here?
Okay. So the story's a little emotional. I kind of almost teared up like even hearing that question. Okay. So in like 2 years ago, I was in Chicago living with my sister. Um, and I took a babysitting job, like a nanny job. And everything was going great with the nannies. I would be like involved with the kids, blah blah blah, meeting the parents, maybe they were going out on a date night, whatever, whatever. So I was there from like the morning to like afternoon, basically. Like I was working a shift. Like most nannies, they probably be at the house for 5 hours, maybe something, but I was actually working like a normal work shift. So this one family in particular, it was a couple, and they told me, we don't need you to watch our baby. Um, Only if the baby wakes up from the nap can you interact with the child. And I'm like, okay, that's very specific directions, like I'm like, I can't see the baby. I wasn't offended. I'm like, this is parents, this is their baby. I can't say anything. So basically, I was just house sitting, basically sitting on the couch. And I don't know how this happened, but I came across this story of a Black couple who lost his wife from birthing. And I just fell into this rabbit hole of like, I have never heard, firstly, of someone actually, this was my first time hearing someone could die from birth. So that kind of struck a chord with me. I'm like, that's not right. That's not ethical. I'm like, why? How could somebody pass from something that could be giving life? How could someone pass from giving life? So it kind of stayed with me from that day, just knowing like even being educated that this is real, these are real life stories, that kind of stuck with me. And at the time I never even put the word doula into anything. It was just like, okay, now that I know this information, what am I going to do with it? So that was 2 years ago, and I just would go about my life just remembering that story. And I'm like, I kind of want to do something now that I know this information. Like I never forgot me hearing that story about that specific couple. And just recently, I was like, you know what can I, how can I implement my knowledge into birth work, period. So I got certified back in July, became like an actual certified birth doula, because I was like, I want to involve myself in this information. Like I didn't just want to read something and just go about my day. Like I was like, I actually want to incorporate this mission into my life. So that's what kind of put the battery in my back. I'm like, you know what? Whoever, whatever my information or support can do for somebody's life in birthing experience, I will want to do that. So it was that story for me. And I'm like, this could be anybody, a young mom, a older mom, whatever. Cause a lot of young females get pregnant. So they're like at the least end of having any information. So I'm like, whatever I can do basically is why I became a doula.
That your heart of serving, that just blew me away, and I think that that's a core element I have found in the doulas that I feel connected to, or the birth workers I feel connected to. Like this tugged at my heart, and it didn't just tug at my heart and I moved on. No, I resonated with what can I do to make this better, And that is just so beautiful and so bold to me. And just like, that's the type of people I want to be a part of the mom bar community, because we really do have to be each other's village. And I'm curious to know, was the mom, her name was Kyra or Kira?
I think so. It
Okay.
was like she got taken back for a C-section,
Hmm.
and that was it. So I
And
think
the
her name
dad
was
has
Kyra.
he has a nonprofit.
Yes.
That was my
Yes.
first. So after I lost my son in 2019, and as I began to just do research, because that was a very, very, very dark and depressing time for me. I didn't go through depression because I was like, that's not a part of my identity. I'm not claiming that. Um, However, I took the time to go and try to find communities. And that was one of the
Mhm.
stories that made me make a commitment to myself and my angel son that as long as I get to continue to live, I'm going to continue to be a part of this community and this conversation, because God, because of that near death experience I had with
Mhm.
losing him, and also almost losing my own life during labor, and then reading that story and finding out that someone actually did lose their life, I have a responsibility to show up to these conversations, and I am just so glad that we've connected, because we share that same responsibility, and we're choosing to actually use our voices in this way. And that just literally, wow, like wow, this is so
Mhm.
divine, and I just am so excited that you took the time to share the information you shared. And I'm curious to know, because again, this has been inaccessible information to not
So
only
many people.
moms and Black women, but when I really think about it, like Black girls, like the autonomy over our bodies and the confidence we should have, and learning about sexual education. And so I'm curious, what are your thoughts about how a young lady should learn about the support services? Because I hear you use the language of like younger moms. How young, or what do you think that should look like in terms of sexual health education and the supports that should be offered to them as well? Because I personally feel like doula
Mhm.
services should most be delivered to young moms of
Yeah.
color who are under
Yes.
18. That should just be, to me, that should be a bare minimum.
Exactly. Um, 18, at least starting at the age 18. There is like, I guess, basically just whoever listens to this, basically just sharing that information with younger Black girls, sharing this episode, because a lot of young women find themselves facing a pregnant, and they're just kind of feeling alone, scared. Fear is number one, is that number one strike. And looking up or getting in touch with a local doula agency, a local midwife, anybody can change the trajectory of your fear and can change the trajectory of that confidence that you need to continue with the journey of being pregnant. So like I know a lot of like the colleges around me, they have midwives of color and things like that, because we want to see people that look like us in these specific spaces. Um, because we want to feel like we're safe. We want to feel like we have that community, the village that you said. Like we are a village when it comes to getting this right and being safe and using our voice and actually feeling like when I say I'm in pain, you actually believe me. It's not a you have a high tolerance, whatever the situation may be. So just sharing your knowledge, looking out for your other peers really helps that fear get knocked down, because when you're scared you don't want to really do, basically, when you're really really scared with something. So just reaching out to somebody you feel comfortable with, I feel like is the best start for sure. Um, yes. Just trying to be as vocal as you can. 'Cause somebody picks up that voice eventually. Like, you're not alone, you're not by yourself. Don't shut your voice out. Really reach out into the community and you will get a response basically.
So I want you to share with us, how can the people connect with you? And so there's like, and I say this because you just said share this episode. So I want to make sure that people know how to connect with you in the capacity of you perhaps going to go to speak on those campuses about doula services and the importance of that, or even the capacity of you sharing the knowledge that you have. How can people get in contact with you? What are some things that they can look forward to in terms of doula services from you? Share with us all the things so we can support you in our
yes.
community.
Yeah, so my site on Instagram is bashfulbaby.service. All my consultations are free. And with that consultation, we get into the next steps of making that birth plan, talking about pricing and all of those things that you may be worried about. I want to knock the worry off of you. As much as I can carry for that mom and that family, I am here to do that. I plan to be a doula for a very long time, so there is no need to think I'm going to disappear. No, I'm not. I'm here for these moms, these families, and yeah, staying connected as much as I can. So that's how you can connect with me. A message, whatever, a consultation, whatever you want to do. That is how you can stay connected with me.
Thank you so much for allowing yourself to be vulnerable and transparent about the journey that you've taken to get on this path. Again, the intended goal here is learning to love the life that God has designed for you. And that means that we got to be in community and we got to use the resources that are available to us. And so this has been a great conversation to learn about doulas and how doulas can be of service and help for you as a mom. And I just really, really hope that y'all tap into her network, that she also taps into this network, and that she comes back and she visits us to tell us more information about how we can support her and how we can tell some of these other new moms about the benefits of having a doula. I appreciate you guys. And until next time,
Thank you.
I want you to say bold, brilliant, beautiful, and blessed.